Hi, this is Carlos Moreno, Co-Executive Director of Big Picture Learning.
Hello, I'm Andrew Frischman, Co-Executive Director of Big Picture Learning.
We have long held that those who consider themselves part of the Big Picture Learning Network are, almost by definition, beloved agitators. And it's times like these that bring sharp focus to the phrase, "We are activists," embedded in our mission. In these times and beyond, it is our collective duty to not only expose the inadequacies of archaically designed education and election systems, but also to act upon them. These systems have not and do not offer equal opportunities. Even today, they continue to disproportionately impact the social-economically disadvantaged and, in particular, communities of color. The value of participation is not equally valued, nor is it equally measured.
And yet, we use the term network with purpose. In the midst of the ongoing pandemics of COVID-19 and racial inequity, we are a community facing the uncertainty of our democracy together. Freedom is not a state, it is an act. It is not some enchanted garden perched high on a distant plateau where we can finally sit down and rest. Freedom is the continuous action we must all take, and each generation must do its part to create an even more fair, more just society. These words from the late John Lewis remind us of our commitment to be actively engaged in the face of disaffection and discouragement. We know that we can't stay true to our calling as activists if we don't actively promote and participate in important civic moments which call out to us. It was President Barack Obama who said, democracy works, but we gotta want it.
So as we live and embrace our collective mission and vision, we are pleased to hear stories of network schools educating students and families about this nation's long history and ongoing pattern of voter suppression. Stories of students, educators, leaders engaging in voter registration drives and making plans to get to the polls or vote in advance or through absentee balloting. Throughout the history of this nation, far too many have died while denied the right to vote. And far too many have had to fight against systemic disenfranchisement. We must value our right to vote and cast our ballots.
Now, in the lead up to this election and on November 3rd, Big Picture Learning staff are dedicating their time to participating in our democratic process. As with Juneteenth and Indigenous Peoples Day, as with the day honoring Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we consider Election Day to be a sacred American holiday, inspiring service. Big Picture Learning staff are not only planning to vote that day, if we haven't already, many are volunteering their time as poll workers. We urge you to support the same for your staff and students.
So y'all, in advance of Election Day, Big Picture Learning is offering a number of programs to call attention to this important civic responsibility. We're offering panel presentations on the important role of civics in education. Our Books with Brothers reading this week celebrates the importance of civil disobedience in the form of marching and protests. And we're all gathering for a viewing and discussion of All In, The Fight for Democracy, a new documentary outlining the history of voter suppression and why it still haunts us to this day. We hope you, your staff, and your students will join us for any or all of these important events. And some of the details on that can be found below.
We know that these past 7 months have presented unique challenges. Yet our hearts are filled with hope and optimism when we hear stories of young people from across the Big Picture Learning Network embracing the challenge in the changing world for the better. They're activating. They are activists. This work will not end on Election Day. To remain neutral in the face of injustice is not only inadequate, it is abhorrent. School leaders must continue to support the connections and engagements of students, families, and educators in the communities we serve and the democratic system we hold dear.
And please know that we will be with you along the entire way. We've been in this work for the long haul. We started with you to lend collective strength in times of weakness, courage in times of fear, unity in times of division, and we remain alert, we remain hopeful, we for sure remain fearless, And we are activists, and we are Big Picture Learning. And we stand with you, always in love and solidarity.
In love and solidarity.
Peace.
Thank you.